I'm 2 minutes late. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It is great to be here. Monday morning, and we're going live. Let's answer some questions. I'm sure a lot of people had a lot of things to think about, a lot of things to execute on. Let's get going right away. Very, very excited. And get people on here. We'll start jumping on. We got the ones joining us. Welcome. Thank you, Jake, for letting me know you can hear me. I got earpieces on, so I forgot to take them off. You never know. Hey,
Hey, what's up, David? How are you?
good man. I saw you on there. First one on. That's awesome.
I was waiting on bated breath.
So good to see you, man. What's going on? What's changed in your perspective here?
Whew. Well, it's Monday. You'd never know it because all our days look the same. But I'm really excited because today is a special day for me. My late mother's birthday, April 20th. So it was always a special day for me. Now it's even more special. She watches me from upstairs. But in honor of her birthday, and because it was so close to Earth Day, we decided to start a very special promotion for forest founders. This guy right here.
That's it.
So if people sign up for our subscription program for us to plant trees and negate their carbon footprint, between today and the 24th, we will actually plant 5 extra trees on their behalf per month for the lifetime of their account. So I'm very happy to introduce that and do it right here live with David Meltzer. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, I got to tell you something. Yesterday, which was Earth Day, right?
Or Earth Day's the 22nd.
Twice. Oh, it's coming up. So yesterday was my mom's birthday. That's okay. I'm such a Disney freak.
I saw you and your son running by and wishing her a happy birthday. I was just watching your stream.
And today is my late father's birthday. So my father and your mother have the exact same birthday. And my dad passed 2 years ago. He's 80. So it's very meaningful for me to have you on here and for the offer that you're giving people to transform our earth and save so many people. You know, there's many ways to save people.
We'll say it's on behalf of my mom and your dad today.
Awesome.
Special promotion from Ford and David.
That's awesome. So where can people jump on to join the cause?
Yeah, go to forestfounders.org. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We plant through the National Forest Foundation. They're the nonprofit arm of the U.S. Forest Service. They plant the majority of our trees right here in U.S. national forests across the country. We were looking for a way to just make doing the right thing environmentally a little bit friendlier. Something where you didn't have to think. You could subscribe. We have a $10 subscription. It's less than Netflix. And it's earth insurance. It's insurance for our future. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good things to invest in the earth, according to our children's future. Last thing, got a question for me. What can I help with?
Oh, man. I think that the most important thing that we can do is just to bring home, how important it is during this quarantine and during this period that we've been given. There are many different ways to look at it, but if you try to find the silver lining, we have an opportunity to press reset. And the environment has been, taking a backseat to capitalism for hundreds of years now. But now with the takeoff of technology, we're really seeing the damages that we're creating in the environment. My question and my ask of you would be to just continue fighting that fight, making sure that people are conscientious and cognizant of the fact that we have the ability to change how we're living now. We're not going to work every day. We're seeing some beautiful things happening. The skies above LA are clear. Canals in Venice are crystal clear. Pollution in China's gone way down. And I think that we really all need to, take stock of what's really important to us. What can we really not live without on the other side of this? But how can we be more environmentally conscientious and make sure that we're doing the right thing by the planet when we all get out of our little lockdown here?
Yeah, well, I think you're right, man. And my advice would be consider the earth and everything else just like college. And imagine you graduated college and somebody told you, hey, man, I'm going to let you go back to college knowing what you know now. We all get to go back to school knowing what we know now. So let's not forget, let's utilize it. Let's learn lessons, light and love within what we've learned and move forward to make this a better place for everyone on earth, because it is the one common denominator that everyone shares as their home. And this is a great reminder. Ironic that President Trump may be known for having the greatest impact on our environment, for the positive. But what you resist persists. So I love that. Anyway, man, I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna answer more questions. Make sure you
Awesome.
join Forest Founders. Let's save the earth. April 22nd
Thank
is
you so
Earth Day.
much, David.
Celebrate my dad and your mom's birthday today. Thank you.
100%.
That's awesome. Forest Founders, go ahead.org. Check it out. Let's answer some questions. We got good people coming on from all over the place. Come on, let's see what we got here. What to tell yourself when you get caught in the want of manifestation. So the want, we should never be caught into, because the three schools of want are not enough, just enough, and more than enough. And if you're living in the world of more than enough, where there's more than enough of everything for everyone, obviously there's no want, because you have everything you need. What we can do is decide our what, and what it is that we want in order to manifest it. And so let's focus in on the what, not the want. Let's live in the world of more than enough of everything for everyone, and allow that to come through you for others to stay inspired, not motivated. Motivated will get you started to be inspired. So let's get motivated to be inspired and think about our what, so that we can realize that we have everything we want. In fact, we have everything that we need. And the more that we allow it to come through us for others, the more that we will have. So let's deliver on that promise. Let's see what other questions here. Thank you, Danny. Keep on giving me questions, everyone. It's fuel for my fire. How to learn and start working with social media marketing. Social media marketing is practice. It's testing. Some of the best advice that I've been given from all the different people in the space. The best advice is, hey, I really don't know, but you got to keep testing. And here's the best methodology to test the strength of your signal, the spectrum of your signal, and the clarity of your message. And then you can determine how to capture your content, your quality content, consistently modify it and amplify it, and then perpetuate it with great value. So let's see here. We're working on who's here. Wow, we're piling up fast. Thank you for all the questions. We got Fashion Week today. That's awesome. Getting on here. I'm going to let Juliana join for 1 second, because I'm speaking today with John Asseroff and Tom Bilyeu with Fashion Day. And just, hey,
Hey, what's going on?
how are you?
Hanging in there, just like everybody else, I guess, you know.
All right. Well, you got a quick question for me?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, what I've been, since the last time we talked, I took your advice, and I've still been staying positive and still crushing it. I just passed 20 million views on my Twitter for this year so far. So
Beautiful.
it's been going great. Still trying to find the right content when there aren't any new collections, new events, new stuff. For me, it's always been focusing on the relevancy of content and focusing on what's happening, and what the current trends are, what the trends are going to be. Like, for me, I feel like we're entering a frustration phase, I like to call it. We're frustrated that we're staying indoors. We can't go out. We want to build new businesses. We want to help the people who have businesses that are maybe suffering, right? And I feel like there's so many trends and still so much that we can do, accomplish, make more money, whether it's in the stock market, finding companies that are doing stuff with vaccines and helping out and stuff. For me, I just feel like as we progress towards whatever the new normal will be after we exit this, I feel like what I focus on in the fashion industry, it's going to be so different. Like, I don't see us having Fashion Week anymore. I see us having an entirely different type of Fashion Week where there's not going to be a schedule. There's not going to be a calendar, where brands are going to decide to show on when they want to show, when it's going to work for them. So my question for you is I'm actually working on building an entirely new vision for a virtual Fashion Week. My question for you is like, where do you see the fashion industry coming out of this new normal once we're on the other side? Because I believe that some of the brands and the designers that we have loved over the past couple of years are not going to be on the other side when we come out of it. So there's obviously going to be new talent, new everything. So I just wanted to understand, like, where do you see it going, you know?
Yeah, I think there's a new blend, and I think there will be a blend. I think, you know, in a sports analogy where my world is, you can't look at like a football game that this thing has 4 quarters, it has 9 innings. So I'm looking at like a baseball game, and we're really just in the first inning. And so when you have that many different segmented change, you're going to have a variety of different nuances as we have step by step a new inning. So I think the next new inning is going to probably be May 1st. And then the next new inning may be as fast as May 15th. I think the ninth inning will be when they come out with a vaccine. And then we'll really see what the more stabilized changes will be once the vaccine comes out. Because until then, there's just opportunity, like you said, for people to get ahead and people to catch up. People are in the middle of a miracle, and you were talking about new fashion innovators, new designers. You know, those brands, a lot of them still carry a lot of weight. So even, you know, you had like the rebirth. I just remember, you know, things re-engineer themselves. But Massimo, for example, right? Massimo is a great brand, and you know, it wasn't as accelerated as it's going to be, but all of a sudden he appeared in Target, right? And he created a whole new genre that changed the world of fashion to put, you know, high-end designers. And then you had pop-up shops kind of work from that and learn from that in designing pop-up shops, because people would have limited weeks editions going into Target. So I think, you know, look at it as a 9 inning game, realize that, you know, I would still stick and realize there's many opportunities for new designers, new innovation. But in the end, in the ninth inning, watch for the reemergence of the big brands. Even if they go under, watch for how they reemerge, re-engineer, because there's a lot of brand equity in a lot of those names, and people are going to learn to utilize that brand equity. So let me jump off. Have a great day. I'll see you later at Fashion Innovation today. I'm speaking there with Asaroff and Bilyeu. So we're going to have a good
I'll
time.
talk to you then. Have a good day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, come join us today. So Jack, what's going on? Tom Bilyeu, you are here, it looks like. Speak of the man, the myth, the legend. Look at that good looking dude. All righty. It's been way too long. I don't have to drive all the way up to Malibu through the mountains to see. This is the blessing of technology. There he is.
What's up, my man? How you doing?
You look like you're ready to play some baseball there. What's going on?
I'm always ready to play baseball. What are you talking about?
I was just saying, this is so nice. I love talking to you. I love seeing you. My energy just elevated when your face came up on here, proving that these things actually work, because, you know, to drive up to your house or to have you drive down, as busy or active as we are, it almost becomes an impossibility. And now I can jump on for 10 minutes and gather your knowledge real quick, but more importantly, feel that connection that I love. And that's kind of my first thing is, you know, how can we stay connected? You're such a great influence on so many people, and people look up and need you to be inspired. How can we stay connected like this during these times? Because we're going to come out of it. I'm going to drive up to your house and see you in person and give you a big hug.
I like the sound of that, man. It is, yeah, it's a crazy time. So I think the key is for people to do what they can. So one thing that Lisa and I are doing, much like what we're doing right now, is we actually schedule Skype calls with friends, like totally offline, nothing being recorded, just like, hey, let's hang out. We do the same thing with our family. So I'm actually talking to my family more now during this than I do normally. And that was one of the things coming into the quarantine that I'll give credit to my wife. She said, you know, let's make this time special so that when we think back on it, we don't remember all of the negative stuff. We remember the positive stuff. And I thought that was brilliant. I'm not a work from home guy. I absolutely hate the idea of what this is doing to my business. But I can either go into it going, you know, this is all the negative stuff, or I can do things to stay connected. So with the team, we play a game now every Friday during work hours. We have everybody come online and you know, do a big Zoom call, and we play a game. I don't know if anybody's played I'm Not the Spy. That's fun. We've done trivia, riddles. So just going out of your way, especially if you can do video, so that you can actually see them and just connect. And it's not as good as proximity, but it's a lot better than isolation.
I have a question. Do you think you'll do that after, we get through this? Do you think you'll still play online games with your family and friends?
Well, anything that I can bring back into the real world, I will. I really don't think there's any substitute for actually sharing space, but things like my family, because I've got family in England, I've got family in Washington State. So that, yeah, we've all really come to enjoy that time. And for us, we wouldn't be together physically most of the time anyway, just because of the distance. So yeah, that stuff will continue, but things like with the team, we'll do that in person.
A lot of people see you as this influencer and inspiration, and I still see you as this extraordinary business person. One thing that we share is we have this great blend from the pragmatic experiences that we have, which very few people in our positions have. Like, we've walked the walk without technology. And then furthermore, now on this side of what's accelerated this digital world, how are you, blending kind of the pragmatic business side? What do you see pragmatically? I think the biggest fear for me through this whole thing is we don't know the effect of that bottom third that's being devastated. And, I was talking about 9 innings in this ball game. And when we get the vaccine, that's when I'm going to determine what does the playing field look like. But until then, you have this moving rules, and then you're going to have this end. What should we be doing to prepare for these extra innings and then to the final vaccine? Are there certain pragmatic things you're doing?
Yeah, 100%. So my thing is right now, the thing everybody should be focused on is skill acquisition. So I don't want this to be true. I wish that we could stay in great economic times forever. I wish everybody could be equally taken care of. But the reality is you're about to be in a really tough job market. So for the last 10 years, maybe a little bit more, it's been an employee's market. They've been able to move around as much as they wanted. It's about to be an employer's market. So it's going to be about hiring the best of the best, and anybody that has, dry powder, as they call it, access to capital, is going to control the marketplace. So you're going to be able to hire the greatest people of all time. And your goal right now, not waiting until we hit the bottom of this, your goal right now should be to position yourself through the acquisition of skills, the relentless acquisition of skills, to be truly one of the best. And this will come down to what I have learned is that bottom third that you're talking about. There is not a dearth of talent. There's not a dearth of just raw materials and potential. There's a dearth of the mindset that you can jump classes. And the thing that I fear the most in the sort of modern way of thinking about things is people want to tear down institutions. They want to focus on inequality, which spiritually comes from a beautiful place, but it's not going to play out the way that people want it to play out. Focusing on individual responsibility, focusing on getting great, focusing on touching the lives of those around you, like that will play out well. So my hope is, from a practical standpoint, that everybody right now turns inward and says, what can I get great at? What do I want to do with my life? And how do I become one of the best at that? Instead of, bemoaning where we're at, just get good.
And part of getting good with the development of those skills is to acquire knowledge. And there's a variety of different ways. One of the things, even though we're virtual, is to ask for help, right? To go ahead and reach out and utilize this time, because a lot of times we get compressed uncertainty and huge change. People get paralyzed and they forget there's so many resources now, especially today, to get help. And then the one thing, though, the common denominator that you touched on very briefly, is this is also a time to develop one skill that I think is the common denominator of successful people. And you're living proof of this if you look at your career. You must be what you can be, right? Tom Bilyeu must be, Lisa Bilyeu must be what they can be. And if you're going to take the wrong mindset into these 9 innings, you're going to end up, I think, into a very big void, shortage, and obstacle, where if you take the other mindset, what an opportunity to be what I can be. I talked about that, college thing. If everyone's not taking the perspective that, hey, good, when this is all over, I get to go back to college knowing what I know now. What a huge opportunity. What are some of the things that people can do to keep that mindset strong on that they literally can be, they must be what they can be?
So I think people need to understand there's a phrase that hopefully anybody listening to you has heard many, many times, that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I'll stretch that and say you're the average of the 5 ideas you spend the most time with. And right now, a chance to be, although that's not even true, you have an opportunity right now. Like literally, there are so many people that are stuck at home that want to make sure their voices are heard. They're going online all the time. So who are you spending that virtual time with? The ideas that you're thinking about, that's the soil in which the rest of your mindset is going to grow from. So if you're not drinking in ideas that push you forward, you're going to be in trouble. So seek out people that are pushing you to be a more effective version of yourself. And I avoid the word better because I think it's too vague, and I'll define effective. So you need goals. They need to be very specific. They need to be written down, and effective will be whatever moves you towards your goals more rapidly and efficiently. That's it. And so I know my goal, I have it, it's written down. Will this belief or behavior move me closer to it? And surround yourself with people that are to value things, to value ideas that move you more effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, sorry, a little break up there. Absolutely, we want the light, the love, and the lessons, which you and Lisa look for, and hopefully we'll catch up speed-wise, internet-wise, but finding that light, love, and lessons is so important in what we do. You can see from Tom's perspective. Hopefully, we'll catch up on the connectivity. And,
I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear me?
I can now. Go ahead, finish
Okay.
up. I was just talking about finding light, love, and lessons.
Where'd you lose me? On my side, I just kept
in the
going.
efficiency,
So
the accuracy and efficiency of manifesting that, basically.
Yeah, so just making sure that you're taking this time to surround yourself with ideas that push you towards your goals. It really is that simple. I just don't think enough people have defined what their goal is.
Yeah, for sure. And then last but not least, I believe life is about lessons, and the lessons keep on coming till we learn them. And you had mentioned earlier how it's not what you want to focus in on, but you and Lisa are looking for the light, the love, and the lessons and everything. What's the number one lesson that you have learned through this that you're going to come out the other side and go, wow, I gotta be radically humble. I once again didn't know what I didn't know.
Well, I don't know if this will be the answer that you're expecting, but this has been a very powerful reminder that civilization is not a guarantee. That if this is going to be held together, like we actively have to hold it together, and we have to do things to move ourselves forward as a community, as a people, to be thoughtful about how our actions impact the people around us. So the fact that people are not practicing social distancing is crazy. So it's not about how it just impacts you. Like I came into this going, yo, 100%, like if I got COVID-19, I would survive that shit. Like that's just my mindset. I'm healthy. I'm fucking psychotically driven, guaranteed. But I was worried about my wife. I was worried about my mom. My wife has had chronic chest infections most of her adult life. And I just thought, oof, like this is one of those things that could be bad for her. So that put me in the mindset of whether or not I get through this is irrelevant. This is a question of how am I impacting the people around me? And so, man, if people are just pushing through this sort of blindly thinking that life will always be the way that it's always been, I think that's a real problem. And then I'm super worried about people who, because we haven't yet felt the economic repercussions, are acting like they're not coming. So that's why, like, if I don't see people sharpening up their skill set, I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? Anybody's job, in the blink of an eye could be gone. My company in the blink of an eye could be gone. And so, I'm really trying to be ultra disciplined about getting my team through this, where they all have jobs. And it's just a different level of responsibility, man. So this is an exciting time though. When you get challenged, like either you're like, yo, motherfucker, I'm going to make it through this. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I've always felt like that's been my superpower is I don't think I'm smarter than most people. In fact, one of the things that I've always struggled with is I'm not nearly as smart as I want to be. But fuck, like I've got the discipline to see this through. So I just want to see people, improving their skill set, and that's going to be huge. And I think most people will not do that.
Yeah, no, and I'm doing these free Friday trainings exactly for that reason. In fact, Jake, put that text number up so people can come for free. One of the things you said, though, I think initially people weren't taking accountability or responsibility for those people that were at risk. My biggest concern now is that the people that are at risk are safely harbored, and they're probably not in contact with the people that are being irresponsible. But I think the irresponsibility now is that you don't want this to restart. And I think we saw how one case turns into hundreds of thousands of cases. And so, you know, if people don't realize that they're out there sharing cases again, and people are asymptomatic, which means you don't show any symptoms, that, you know, we may get to a certain inning in this, and then all of a sudden more cases evolve because people fly around, and all of a sudden, and then it leads back to people that are at risk, you know, that aren't as healthy as you and I, and more deaths. So, you know, I want to reiterate your point that that's my chief concern, is the people that are at risk, and then this restarting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which it could have, I mean, economic disaster to it if we can't get through the first round. You know, we like you said, I don't think people realize what this is going to happen economically, and we don't even realize it. But more importantly, what if it happens again because we're irresponsible? So I think that's a really good message. I know you are extremely active, and there's great things we're going to speak today at the Fashion Innovation panel. Any last ideas or words of inspiration for everyone?
Man, just make this a beautiful time. It'll be very easy to see the ugliness and the loss. But if you recognize that you're going to see what you look for, there's a great quote: doesn't matter what you look at, it matters what you see. So we're all looking at COVID-19 and the crisis, but what do you see? So if you see the opportunity, then you know you can achieve something extraordinary during this time, whether it's connecting with people, whether it's taking the time that you would commute to learn a new skill, or whether it's understanding that when the economic chessboard gets turned over like this, there is tremendous opportunity. So during the Great Depression, more millionaires were made than any other time in human history leading up to that point. So this is a time to realize it's not going to be easy. But first of all, if you're not looking at what Ray Dalio is putting out, he's putting this all in historical context and saying, here's where the opportunities are. And he's putting that shit out for free. Anybody can go and listen to that, digest, and act on it. Or you can, you know, head down and ignore it. So please, my friends, be careful. Not so much what you look at, but what you decide to see.
Absolutely. Find the light, love, and lessons. Develop your skills. And I have all the gratitude and love for you and Lisa. I'll see you later today. Thank you so much for joining me.
You got it, brother. Peace out. Take
Peace
care,
out.
everybody.
Awesome. Be great, Tom Bilyeu.
You too, man.
He's amazing. Thank you so much. Wow, Jake. There we go. You guys, unbelievable. Where's Team Meltzer today? We'll get that pinned up there. Anyway, let's get a few more questions here. The unbelievable Tom Bilyeu. That's why we have training there on Friday. I posted the number to develop skills, build relationships, knowledge, and hopefully inspire you a little bit to be what you must be. Get to a quick question here. How are you keeping fit during lockdown? I've always, over the last 3 years now, put a minimum priority of an hour a day on my health. So being a student in my calendar, studying the day before, how am I, before anything, before breakfast, lunch, dinner, before family, before activity I get paid for, I am making sure that nothing gets in the way. Even the great Tom Bilyeu is getting in the way of my health, because if I am not here and don't take care of myself, I can't take care of others, which is my literal life mission, is to empower others to be happy. As you know, happiness is the greatest virus of all time. It spreads just by witnessing it and strengthens your immune system. So really, please, everyone, make sure that you have a plan and prioritize your health, whatever it may be. Put attention into it, give intention to it, and you'll get the coincidences of your health that you want. There's tons of stuff you can do at home, all by yourself outside. Just make a plan. Lower the bar. If you're finding resistance, lower the bar. Tell yourself you're just going to put your shoes on. You know, the next day you'll do more, but you will get more done. Tell yourself you're going to walk to the end of the block or run to the end of the block. Watch how far you end up running. Same thing's true in life. So let's go ahead and see what we got here. Hey, Trey, what's going on? You must be what you can be, just like Trey. Let's see here. See who else wants to go live. If anyone wants to take another question. There's so many. Thank you so much. What's your opinion on language skills? You know, I have an interesting perspective on language skills. I think to develop the mind and learn other languages and utilize them is a very valuable thing. And I think education is going to go that way, of which parts of the brain to exercise, like John Asseroff says, what parts of the brain are we going to utilize as a muscle so that we can think in a certain way, dream in a certain way, execute in a certain way. But to utilize a language is just going to be obsolete in itself, the practice of it, because all technology is moving towards 90 languages being able to instantaneously be translated and translated back. So to spend the time, if you're not interested in developing that part of your brain, that part of the execution of what it takes in the brain, which is very interesting if you are more interested than interested in studying it, just the effect that you need it for business, then you can rely on technology. It's coming even on these great devices, being able to speak in fluid Mandarin and have it speak back to you. Financial literacy is another story. You need to get good advice, find someone that sits in the situation you want to be in. What's the best college degree to get? Desire. The best college degree is aligned with your personal experiential giving and receiving values. The best college degree could be, if you're a salesperson, could be the school that has the best network of what you want to sell. It depends on your personal experiential giving and receiving values. I wouldn't go deep into debt to get a college education. There's so much you can do in part of college education and experiential value, maybe to build that network or to experience having fun for 4 years, or if you can afford these types of things. It just depends. College isn't for everyone, but if you can afford it, what a great experience, and you can pick and choose what's aligned with your values and build relationships, right? So situational knowledge, relationship capital, and fun, happiness. So make your alignment, pick the college that best is aligned with that, and don't go too far into debt, especially with what's going on now. Would you buy a new car? Once again, time and risk tolerance. There's plenty of opportunities to buy a car right now, low interest rates. If you're going to finance it, at least depending on your situation, you can always find the right car to buy that's aligned with your values. So all of these questions are really important to reiterate why we take inventory of our values, right? Take inventories of your values. Once again, Fridays, join me on a free training. We go over a lot of this stuff. This week, I'm actually going to focus in on 5 to Thrive, the best-selling system in the world, 5 simple steps to sell anything and to find those opportunities, get help, etc., to understand not only how to sell, but to share a vision, because that's really selling, and then most importantly, how to manage and develop that. So please join me Friday. Text me at 949-298-2905. It's down below. We can register you there. How to change your plan effectively. Once again, utilize help when we're making a plan. People do have more situational knowledge and experience. Take more than one person's advice, especially health advice. I always get more than one person's advice, and then go ahead and see what's most aligned that with my situational knowledge, experience, etc. Let's see here. Looking at one more question. Are societies like the Freemason good for accountability and support in the pursuit of success? Societies have a variety of perspectives, one in which to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of your happiness. But in the end, I think, as Tom was alluding to, we have one home, and that's never been brought to our forefront in modern day time as it is now, that we have one home. And if we don't take care of that home, if we don't keep the home clean, keep it virus free, keep it safe and sound, that human existence now is actually brought to the forefront of awareness and the value of human existence. And depending on what your perspective is, a human experience or a spiritual experience or a blend of each, right? I am having I'm on a spiritual journey, having a human experience. Consistent, persistent pursuit of your happiness. That's my boy. Let's see who else here. Let's go live real quick and see if anybody else will have a little bit of connectivity. We'll do one more question and then onward and upward. I'm going to come back later today and do one. We got an interesting schedule. How do you motivate your sales team to adapt with technology and get back into in business? Look, it's a practice. So how do you motivate a football, baseball, basketball team? How do you motivate a young golfer, tennis player? How do you motivate, right? Motivation is get them started to practice. Inspiration will be the practice itself, but you got to motivate them to practice. and their skills, knowledge, and desire. And so we need to practice in giving them support in developing the skills they need, give them the availability of the knowledge, etc. Um, and more importantly, moving forward from there, uh, helping them maintain that desire to must be what they can be. If you could do that, your team's gonna fly. We just remember the difference between motivation and inspiration. One, you have to motivate them to practice, and then they'll become inspired by the practice. And if you give them the right tools in order to effectuate those skills, knowledge, and desire, you're in the golden round. You are accelerating, growing, and as a group, creating a collective consciousness based off of your core values to achieve what you want. What do you say on this pandemic? Just like I say on anything, the experience I have, find the light, the love, and the lessons. More, this is the margins of millionaires. Like Tom said, Bob Proctor said, more millionaires were made during the Depression than any other time. So these are the times in which if we stay with a strong mindset, we control our feelings, we control what we say and what we hear, and we do the things aligned. That's good. Let's jump on real quick. Let's see if I can get Mario. I see him there as well. Haven't seen him in a while. Mr. Mario, are you there? Hello, everyone. Don't forget to join me Friday. Hey!
Yo!
Your
Oh my
future's so
gosh,
bright,
man.
you got to wear shades, man. What's going on?
So good to see you, man. You know, every single day I do my live right from here at the same spot, and trying to do what you do, like share nuggets of wisdom and advice. And the other day I had a stack of books and someone was like, "What's that? What are your books?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, right at the top." Right at the top is David's book right there on the top of my stack right here. And then look, right under that is Buddha's Brain.
Yeah. I got my new idea is ferocious Buddha. I want to be a ferocious Buddha, live in this pragmatic vibration, be a strong at-will activity person, but react when I'm in the ego-based consciousness like a Buddha. So
Yeah.
accelerate, grow, learn, highest frequency, push, push, push. But when I'm in the wrong trajectory, when the need to be right, angry, all these different things come about, I'm a Buddha. But I'm a ferocious Buddha, kind of like the psycho bunny.
It's so good. What you're saying is so good because so we just we launched a YouTube channel and it was all about the mindful hustle. So
Right.
It's very similar. It's like taking these two extremes of saying, hey, that's right, you're ambitious. Go for your dream. Pursue it with all your greatness. Go after your potential. Give us the best you have. You have a gift, you have a talent. Show it to us and go. But let's do it mindfully. Let's have empathy. Let's understand human beings. Let's not step on each other to get there. And how can we, like the ferocious Buddha, how can you still have that tenacity, but do it with such pleasantry at the same time? And that's where we kind of coined this phrase, the mindful hustle. We're launching an episode on that on our YouTube channel that's actually called just that. Like, can you hustle mindfully?
Yeah, and that's the people think that's in conflict. It's just like detaching your emotions from an outcome. They're like, so you don't have any goals? I was like, no, 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 no. I'm detaching my emotions, my happiness from the actual outcome. I'm enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit of that outcome with the ferociousness that I have, and understanding, like the myth of Sisyphus I talk about. It seems to me that a lot of people, they're just ferocious and they roll that big ball or rock up the hill, and then then it comes falling down every morning, and they have all the great intention. They have a great intention, but no one's taught them what it is that's making the ball roll downhill every night when they go to sleep. And that idea of mindfulness while you're doing it allows you to plateau and grow, because you don't allow yourself to get into these places of resistance, shortages, void, scarcity, insecurity, fear. And that's never been more compressed than right now. What are some of your tricks on the mindful side of being able to stay out of the ego-based consciousness or fear?
It's constant practice, number one. Constant practice. Number two, accepting the fact that I am working on it and that I am not perfect. Number three, I would say really getting to the core of understanding that we go farther together than, so there's an African proverb that reads, you can go fast alone or you can go farther together. And really, when you understand that, you understand how things are bigger than you and need to be bigger than you. And when you do that, you begin to start to remove that connection or that attachment to that ego. And you realize that if I really want to have an impact, if I really want to do something of value, I need to remove my selfishness from it. I need to remove my ego-based ideas and attachments to any outcome and just allow myself to be a part of that flow and that energy that will put me into the greatest position to help others and help others help me and me help others and others help me. And it just multiplies and multiplies with that energy. And so I think right now, what I've seen the most is really helping people that are used to the chaotic busyness of the day and the distractions that come with normal everyday life, that when everything shut down, many of them were calling because they couldn't figure out how to cope, because they hadn't practiced self-awareness. They haven't practiced sitting with their own thoughts. They haven't practiced being able to meditate or quiet their mind or understand how to try to work with your mind. And so it started off really initially just helping family members that were just really struggling with coping with this new norm for them. But then once I feel like we had some of that going on, I really started wondering, how are people really reacting to this moment in time where everything is put on pause? And so the mindful hustle in me came out, because I was like, wait, yes, this is a bad thing, but how we approach it and our perception of it is going to determine our actions. So we can either wake up and be in fear and paranoia, or we could wake up and say, I'm alive today. What do I do to contribute today? And so that's where I really started motivating myself on having some structure, having some personal goals that I wanted to accomplish, and ultimately thinking through what would be something that I would regret not doing during this time, when all we ask for all the time is, if I had more time, I would work on X. And now is the time to say, well, if you had more time to meditate, now is the time for you to actually practice meditating. If you had more time to do yoga, now is the time for you to do yoga. If you had more time to launch that podcast, now is the time for you to launch that podcast. So I was really trying to get into a proactive mode of mindfulness with people to try to say, hey, look, this is a setback, but this is a global pause and a global reset for us collectively as energy to kind of really figure out, what do I want from my life and how can I be more fulfilled and what can I do to contribute more value?
Dude, you have inspired me for another Meltzer nugget. You ready? Because
Yeah.
I'm sitting here listening to your genius and the mindfulness that you have. And this one word keeps coming out, something I study every day is time. And I realize while I'm talking to you that in any situation, we should always analyze the variable of time, right?
Ooh,
In the respects of what we have
gotta
to
write that
control.
down.
So if we,
Right.
right, because if you pull time out of a situation of a decision and say, what would my decision be without time? Now you're closer to faith. If you look and see the efficiencies of time, you're now getting productivity or accessibility or desire is
Wow.
related directly to time. So
Woo.
if you want and have the pause, if you want and have the perspective, mindset, feelings, saying, thinking, and doing, and believing, if you have an opportunity to analyze maybe what's most important or aligned with your values,
Yeah.
do a time analysis and watch what awareness becomes, because you take the horizontal nature of time and by
Yep.
using time as a variable, you turn it on its axis and you make time variable past, present, and future. And I've
That's good.
been working with Blaine Bartlett, who taught me this axis thing, and I could never realize, okay, so what is the the variable that causes the person to gain perspective? It's time. And so I want to encourage everyone to, at least a few times a day, use time as a variable to analyze. It's almost like another lens, and say to yourself, if there was no time, because all this really happened out of everything is time is compressed, right? Like we
Right.
have diseases, it's just more viral, so time is compressed. Change always happens. Things are happening faster, so change is happening bigger. But time is the constant variable.
It's
And it's
true.
a man-made construct, though. Time
It,
is a man-made construct. It's a variable that we can control, and people don't think they can control it because they have it on a horizontal axis. But
right.
if you realize time's on this axis, you can control your perception of time. I'm gonna have to get going. So one good piece. Go ahead, finish
I
up with a
just want
good
to say
piece
that
of
because
advice.
you just made me think of something, which is beautiful what you just said, David. Thanks so much for having me pop on. I just want to add on to that. One thing that made me think of that is, a lot of times what we may want to do is create a to not do list. So we have a to do list, but we need to create a not to do list. So because I think about time, and you're right. We get it. These attachments that we have to outcomes, right? If we are attached to certain outcomes happening a certain way, that's suffering trying to get to that outcome in that particular way, as opposed to seeing a goal or something you would like to accomplish and allowing yourself to be moved with the energy and projecting great energy to kind of find your way there, however you get there. So my point is, a lot of times when we create to-do lists, we're creating our energy before we're even allowing the flow to kind of come about, because we're saying, I have to check these things off. And that's fine. But when it's 10 of them and you have one day and you think you're going to get all 10 done, you don't feel any progress. So what I suggest is, if you want to control some of the time, to your point, have a not to-do list. I will not work on my podcast today. I will not let a creative idea get in my way of getting this pitch deck done that I have to get done. So I'm just coming up. We are just,
Let me help you
are,
with that too, because I'm not a not guy. What I do is I do everything now. I have a do it now philosophy where I ask myself, can I do it now? And if I can, then I do it, because I save at least twice as much time and I'm exponentially more successful. Then I create a do it now list, but I prioritize it by what's
yes.
most important according to my values. And if it's just urgent, it ends up being sometimes on a not to do list, meaning it's just regulated, delegated, or forgot about.
Right.
But using the do it now philosophy keeps you in that vertical time frame of I'm in the moment, which is the key word that you said.
Yes, the presence. And we are in this moment, and I appreciate this moment that you let me come on. So thank you so much, my friend. Hey, I want to get you on my show because we go
Please.
live. So I'll schedule it with you. We go live every day at 12:25 Eastern time. So usually
I'm
after
in.
you, we go live on IG.
Good. I'll carry some audience over. You carry them back. We love you,
Absolutely.
Mario. We
Love
appreciate
you
you.
too, David. Good to
Please
see you.
invite me on. Thank you so much.
Okay,
What a
brother. Take care. Good to
great
see you.
insight,
Take care.
man. I love your books. All right, everyone. I'm going to jump. I'm going to be back later on today. It's a remarkable day. Remember, find the light, love, and love. And at Mario Armstrong, if you like my boy, his future so bright, he had to wear shades. Anyway, thank you so much. Be kind to your future self. I'll see you a little later today. Remember, Friday training, text me 949-298-2905. It's free. Just register. Really appreciate everyone. With all gratitude and respect, do kind things. Be kind to your future self. Do good deeds. Have a great day. Talk to you in a little bit.